Hi, everybody!
We are so back.
Yes, it's time once again for Sports and Spaghetti. I can't wait to get into this show today. We took a 3-week hiatus for Thanksgiving and to reset and retool. Everybody needs some time off. Every show takes time off. You can't just keep rolling through. There's no new ideas that way. So we've got a lot of new ideas. I was
feeling like a chore, not a present.
I have my Mac back, so I will handle the editing from now on again.
Thank God.
That was part of why it was getting to be a chore.
So brutal.
Because I like editing, and Anthony doesn't necessarily like the editing.
I like it because it's cool putting everything together, but I just don't know how to do it efficiently.
Right.
So editing a 30-second TikTok took me an hour.
Right. I got you. So I love it, and it doesn't take me very long. So anyway, we're just really excited to be back. It feels like it was a lot longer than 3 weeks, but then sitting here, it's like, wow, we saw each other. Anthony and I saw each other, and Nicky and I saw each other a lot anyway. We hosted Friendsgiving successfully the weekend after Thanksgiving. That went great. We were at the grocery store together. We had our hands up a Turk. There were homemade pasta involved.
It was smoked
turkey, and there was a lot of good cooking. There's a lot of good food. Nick's nodding his head. He had none of it because he had to work.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are coming back to you with an absolute banger of a dish. Oh, I have to say something first. I have to give 2 shout-outs, okay? I got to give my first shout-out to a friend of the show named Jake. Shout out to you, Jake. And another shout out to Davi, who is a friend of the show. Okay, those are out of the way. Anthony has prepared a banger, and when he tells you, you'll know why, because we've talked about how good he does at this. Anthony?
So,
say hello to the people.
Hello, people. This week, if you've listened to our previous episode, I believe it was called Nick 6. One of the foods Nicky had never tried and wants to try is an egg. And he mentioned I'd like to try it as a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Here we go. How you doing?
We made the homemade bacon, egg, and cheese, boys.
How we doing? He made a sandwich. Anthony does sandwiches better than anybody I've met in my life. I'm very lucky to know you. Let's recap. You made that.
The Italian combo.
Well, no. You made that ridiculous halal thing.
Yep.
Which was like, I forget.
The Camel Rider sandwich.
The Camel Rider, yes. Which was fabulous. You made the best Italian sub I've ever had. Best Italian sandwich I have ever had in my lifetime. That was maybe the best thing I've ever had, still, that you've made.
Call me Tony Sandwich.
That's right. And we're going to try, like, the mother of all sandwiches. Yeah. The breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, so while you guys taste, I'm just going to go with what makes this sandwich so perfect.
I have been waiting. I can't. Oh, Anthony.
Is it still warm? I want to make sure.
It's
okay.
Still, how you doing?
I made these right before I came.
It's the hash.
That's hash right now.
Oh. Oh, my God.
So what makes this sandwich so perfect? I think
there's no hot sauce.
No hot sauce. I didn't know I was going to put hot sauce on ours, but I didn't know.
That's fine.
Okay.
A little fried egg. I can tell.
A little bit. So what makes this sandwich perfect? I think personally that middle of the road sausage, egg, and cheese is going to win every day. But I'm saying a mediocre sausage, egg, and cheese is better than a mediocre bacon, egg, and cheese. A great bacon, egg, and cheese is better than anything.
You think so? I think Melissa would agree with you.
Yeah,
my wife Melissa
I think
would
if
agree.
It's like mediocre wise.
I don't really like a sausage, egg, and cheese, so that's not accurate. But in people that like sausage, egg, and cheese, Melissa would probably agree with you because she eats a lot of mediocre sausage, egg, and cheeses.
Yeah, because I would rather
like the Jimmy Deans.
I would rather a mediocre sausage, egg, and cheese because like a mediocre bacon, like the bacon's going to be chewy. Like
right.
Okay. What makes a sandwich so perfect? It's the fluffy eggs. It's the crisp. I use Portuguese rolls fresh from Dodona's Bakery. I think it's out of Waterbury or Naugatuck, Connecticut.
What do you mean his bakery?
No, it's the name of it. Not my friend Matt. It's just the name of it.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah.
He has a bakery?
No, so yeah, it's Dodona's Bakery. We'll give them.
Are you mutilating that
The
for?
hash brown has stuck to everything.
Why don't you just eat it with the hash brown? It's not going to skew your
I feel like it
judgment.
will, because I don't think I'm gonna like a hash brown.
You don't even know what a hash brown tastes like.
Okay, so it's
Just eat it.
it's Dodona's Bakery out of Wolcott. These are fresh Portuguese rolls, Kaiser rolls.
How close are you to Wolcott?
I am like 20 minutes away. 20 minutes.
So for a bakery, that's a little bit of a hike.
Well, they sell them in the grocery stores.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, because you live in a small town, so they do the local.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
so frightening, by the way. Just because I want to try it doesn't mean it's not.
You're
That's
frightened?
right. That's right. Let's turn our attention to Nicky.
Oh yeah.
Because Nicky's never tried a bacon, egg, and cheese before. So this is the first time that Nick has eaten this beautiful sandwich. Now, for it to be beautiful, and breakfast for me, that's saying a lot. You already know what I think. It's an... hold on. Oh, Anthony. That was forced, but it's as good. It's what I thought it would be. You lived up to the expectation. You didn't exceed it. You lived up to it because that's what it needed to be. It's beautifully done. But you knew that it was good. You see, he's so good at sandwiches. He knows. Of course, it's good. All right, Nick. What are you thinking? Talk to people. I'll shut up.
There's just a lot, going on the sandwich, and that frightens me. And I don't know what an egg tastes like, so that also frightens me. I don't know about the cheese choice because I don't even know what it is. There's a lot of frightening things.
It is just plain orange cheddar. It's not like Kraft Singles. It's an orange cheddar.
It's really the egg that's scaring me right here.
You got it.
What does an egg taste like?
It tastes like... Well,
It's like an egg.
different types of eggs taste very different. So like a raw egg it's so good. A raw egg is not gonna taste, I don't know what that tastes like. A hard boiled egg tastes extremely different from a scrambled egg, and a fried egg tastes different than a scrambled egg too. That egg is fried. That's probably the safest, mildest tasting egg. Because the oil that it's cooked in flavors it a little. The egg is more of a texture than a taste. It's there. Just try it, Nick. It's really good. Melissa told me to bring her some of it, so I can't eat the whole thing. She knows how good your sandwiches are.
What am I another one for?
That's okay. She found out about 20 minutes ago. All right, Nick.
Okay.
I can't vamp anymore. It's time to eat it.
Okay.
Spot on. He's chewing. He's not spitting out. Let's see what happens here. He's lining up the putt. He addresses the ball. Here it is.
I don't know what I think. Honestly, it's pretty good, but I don't know. I don't see the hype. That's what I'm gonna say.
What do you mean?
Like, it's solid.
But this is more than just a sandwich for you. This is the first time you've ever tried eggs.
That's true.
So that's a big thing to try for the first time. It's not like trying a goldfish cracker. This is a big thing.
That's true. I don't know. Everything went together really well. I just I don't see the hype. Like, I wouldn't go crazy about it.
Let me tell you this, Nick. This sandwich would be so much better with some hot sauce on it. But to be fair, Anthony didn't know what we wanted. Some people like ketchup. I don't like ketchup on it at all. I think that's horrible, but some people love ketchup. A lot of people. I love
ketchup a
hot
lot.
sauce on it. A lot of people put ketchup with eggs.
I like hot sauce a lot.
I like hot sauce, like some Cholula,
I wanted to go hot sauce.
little Frank's.
I wanted to go Frank's. I wanted to go Frank's, but I didn't know how we would go, and I didn't want you.
That's fine.
Oh, I wish you did. But
No.
all
But
good,
so
all
and
good.
and I think what the hot sauce or ketchup does is it just gives it that little bit of extra liquid.
Yeah,
Because the sandwich is slightly dry without it, and it's not Anthony's sandwich. It's just in general they'd all be dry without a little something extra.
It cuts through. It cuts through the dryness.
Yeah.
It is a very dry sandwich because eggs.
They're a little bit wet, but
I think
not really.
I
Wet.
think I did a good job. I think they're fluffy and they're moist and they're
They're-
not bad.
they're
cheese,
not
Cheese is a
dry.
good stretch. You got to make sure your roll is buttered, and then
You know what I like about this, Ant? I like how there's not a lot of cheese.
no.
I hate bacon, egg, and
can't
cheese
overdo it.
where there's cheese flowing out of it. That is such a turnoff to me. I really like how you did the cheese.
You know what I really respect about this sandwich is that it tastes exactly how it smells, in my opinion. That makes
See, that's I don't agree with that because eggs smell horrendous no matter how you prepare them.
Yeah, but I'm saying the sandwich, how it smells.
Okay, and yeah,
The sandwich
yeah.
doesn't smell like eggs.
I agree with Nick on that because it's what it says it is. It's not like coffee.
Yeah.
I like that, how you put that. The other thing I like what you said when you tried it was how the flavors really mesh.
Yeah.
And that's why that's the perfect sandwich. I think you've nailed it.
That's why like eating things like this are scary for me is because like I don't want to taste all three things differently in my mouth at the same time. Like I want to taste one flavor. Like,
You know what I
mean?
don't think he'd like is like soup.
Well, yeah, we talked about.
Yeah,
we
I
talked,
said
that was
I
on
don't
his
wanna
no
try-
soup
yeah,
because
it
it's like,
was.
oh, this is a piece of carrot. This is a piece of
Because
celery. This
he's
is, yeah.
gonna taste, and in a can of soup, you would probably be fine with, but a fresh soup, because all those flavors mix in a can. But in the fresh soup, where it's individual items, you're gonna taste. The good thing about it for people is how you can taste the potato, you can taste the carrot in the stew, you can taste the celery, you can taste the onion, whatever, or tomatoes. What do you think? What would you give a bacon, egg, and cheese? Because this is a very standard bacon, egg, and cheese. If you went to any place, Bagel Man, wherever, the bacon, egg, and cheese you get will be just like that. He made a restaurant quality bacon, egg, and cheese, as usual.
I'll give it a 7.
It's high marks.
I would probably give it higher and probably finish it if it didn't have hash brown on it, and if it had hot sauce on it.
I don't go hash brown usually. It's good. Melissa does. Melissa goes hash brown.
Like I will definitely be going to Bagel Man soon and getting one without a hash brown and with
Hot sauce.
Put that thing on a bagel.
Dude,
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
So there's probably a bunch of our viewers right now. Well, maybe not because we're pretty localized. But for some of the ones in other states, we got our Spotify Wrapped, and we appreciate all you people from other states. Thank you very much for listening to 3 idiots from Connecticut. We appreciate you guys. Anyway, all the people in other states are probably like, "What the hell are they talking about? Hash brown on a bacon, egg, and cheese?" Apparently, this is normal. Well, it's relatively normal to me because I've hung around in this area since 2016. So this is normal to me. Bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, hot sauce, hash. Like that's the go-to. Apparently that's not a thing other places, even in the state. The hash brown on it is a little different. So I guess.
So would you say you're Western Connecticut in Watertown or no?
I feel like where I'm at is the very edge of Western
I was going to
Connecticut.
say, yeah.
Like the very edge. And then anything else is, you have the central.
It's the heartland of Connecticut.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's your Hartford, your Waterbury, your New Britain, all that.
A lot of other places don't do bagels either. Like out
Middletown.
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Oh, in the West, they don't really do bagels like we do.
Yeah, because, okay, I mean, this part of the state, the western part of the state is more New York, and I work in the eastern part of the state now. That is so much more Massachusetts. It's crazy. Like, I'm like, I'd say probably 25 minutes away from Springfield, Massachusetts line. So, like, I didn't realize how significant the culture difference is between here and there.
Yeah.
It's like even the way they spell some stuff. Like it's really weird to me.
Yeah, well, people call us New Yorkers.
Yeah.
Basically, if from other parts of the world, we're the tri-state area. We're New York.
Well, it's funny because again, the western part of Connecticut is tri-state, and then you can do the central and the eastern part. That's more New England.
Yeah.
Which is it's funny. It's crazy to me how it does two difference. But
Yeah, and we're
again,
far western Connecticut.
yeah, this is like only popular western Connecticut, like western part of Connecticut, like Hudson Valley area in New York, where they do the hash brown on the sandwich. I had it at Bagel Man when I was in college for the first time, and I was like, this is life changing.
Well, it's funny you mentioned eastern Connecticut because I know Watertown is not quite middle Connecticut, but even spending a night there like we did, before our Friendsgiving celebration last weekend. Even that, when we went out to the gas station, what town was that in?
We were in Thomaston.
Thomaston. It's right next to Watertown. And there was a fella in the gas station. I would say he was probably a senior in high school, right? Probably 17, 18. Tall fella. Tall, fairly fit fella. Now, it was brick outside. It was cold. It was like, okay, it was Frosty the Snowman outside. This guy had a white wife beater on. No, he was pretty muscular. So he filled the shirt out. It wasn't a big problem with that. It wasn't like tattered. But I was like, what is going on? He goes, just go with it. He just
That's this part.
it's just this part of Connecticut.
Yeah.
And so the culture difference is significant even a half hour away, 40 minutes up, or half hour down the road.
It's like 25 minutes away.
Yeah, right? And so and just the way like the stores are there, like I went to the grocery store. I went on a run on the morning Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving for 3 miles, about 3 miles, a little less.
It's like 21 degrees.
It was 22 degrees. I said, I'm going to do this. I had my shorts on. I said, I'm going to do this. So I did it. I ran by the grocery store. Then I went to the grocery store afterwards. And everybody knows each other in the grocery store. I don't even remember what the store was called.
It was our IGA. So it was in Adams.
Adams.
But it's like, again, it's like your IGA.
But it's small. It's like small scale. It's not a Stop and Shop. It's not like where you work. It's small. It reminded me of like not quite Trader Joe's, but more of a Whole Foods, but not quite as ridiculously priced. It's different up there. Like there is no IGA in Danbury. I guess the closest thing you could find to that would be like Seatown, because like a lot of people know each other in Seatown. Because the same people go every week. Sometimes I go to the store in Brookfield. Sometimes I go to the store in Danbury. Doesn't matter.
So there's an IGA. It's Jimmy's Market on Germantown Road.
That's an IGA technically. Jimmy's, you know Jimmy's Market. I've been in there once.
It's like smaller than a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, it's small. It's a little bit of a market. It's not a grocery store.
Oh, okay, because I looked it up, and that's what they gave me.
Yeah, I think it's smaller than.
It's a package store, and I think they do beer there. So it's just beer because it's technically an IGA, so they can't have liquor. And it's just like a few aisles. It's like a convenience store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's been there forever. It's right in the corner of Germantown. It's right up the road from here.
Yeah. So I know listeners are probably like, I don't care about Connecticut. Give me the bacon, egg, and cheese recipe. It's time. It's very easy. I did mine on a griddle because that's how you do it. The traditional breakfast place way. You get a griddle. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take first thing I'm going to do is take the bacon and you're going to crisp it. The worst thing about a bacon, egg, and cheese, you cannot have stringy bacon. So take this thing almost to burnt, as far close to burnt as you like it.
Oh, if the bacon's wrong, the whole thing's
It
off.
has to be perfect. What I will do after that, you're going to clean the griddle. You don't want all that bacon grease to ruin the rest of the food. So wipe the griddle. You can take your nice bread, whether it's a croissant, whether it's a bagel. In this case, I have the fresh Portuguese roll. Cut it, butter it, toast it. It has to be toasted on just the inside. Just toast the inside. Next thing you want to do is you want to take your eggs. I did about 2 eggs a sandwich.
That's
Normal.
typical.
Normal. So I took about 2 eggs a sandwich, a little bit of milk, and you just beat it to make like you would a scrambled egg. Throw it on the griddle, lay it out flat, chop it like you would with scrambled eggs. Very easy. And then split it into however many sandwiches. We made 3 sandwiches, so I split it into 3 little egg piles. Then I did the bacon on top. Then I melted some orange cheddar cheese. Once it got melted, scooped it up, put it on the buttered toasted bread, threw the hot hash brown on top. Done.
I want you to see this, Nick. Okay? As a teacher, you need to see this. Look at the egg, okay?
Yes.
Right there. You know the difference between a scrambled egg and this is the griddle. You could tell because there's griddle specks on it. And
also pepper, but
yeah,
there is
but
griddle.
no, there's griddle stuff.
Yeah.
And it gives it so much character. It's like a fond. It really is. And that's the key difference. If you just scrambled eggs in a pan, a non-stick or whatever pan, and fluff them up, it's not going to eat the same way as a fried egg. That's why I said it's fried, because he fried it on the griddle. That makes a huge difference. I've never had a bacon, egg, and cheese with scrambled eggs. It wouldn't work.
And that's it. Really simple. Like I said, you don't have to do it in a griddle. You could do it in a pan. Real simple. You guys want to make a bacon, egg, and cheese? Tag us. Let us know how it came out. Bring one to Mr. Walker for breakfast, or don't.
You can do it
Do
in any order you want.
Yeah.
If you don't like bacon, get a sausage patty. If you don't like sausage, get some ham. You can really do whatever you want.
Just do egg and cheese. People do egg and cheese. Sometimes if I know they put a lot of cheese on it, I'll just do bacon and egg.
But you got to do the easiest, my rules, right? If I had to have a rule book, crispy bacon, good bread, don't overdo your egg. That's all you got to do.
Oh, overdone eggs are no fun.
You know what else you can do in almost any order? Anthony, please tell us.
Well, there's one thing you can do in any order. You can talk about the good, the bad, and the of the week, and that's in no particular order, and that's with Mr. Chris Walker.
Oh, I've been so excited to do this, and life has just given me several hot button issues to talk about on this segment. So let's dive in and talk right away about the good of the week, okay? And this is a very selfish good, and it's really actually quite bad. But I just want to say a big ha-ha to all the Ranger fans out there. Oh, Turkin with them $92 million. Get them out of here. Can't even beat the Blackhawks. The Islanders and Rangers are tied in points. Okay. Granted, the Islanders have 3 more games played, but here's the thing. And I talked to my coworker Matt Festa. He works with kids who need like extra emotional support in school. And what I love about talking to Matt is that he's a diehard Rangers fan as much as I'm an Islanders fan, right? We can hate on each other's teams all day, but we don't. We always have really productive talks about hockey. And so he said to me today, it doesn't matter how many games less the Rangers have played because they're in such a tailspin right now. They are floundering. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Okay? 8 of their last 10. This is the Rangers. Hello. This is the stacked Rangers. And so he said it doesn't matter. The Islanders could play 10 more games and it doesn't matter. The Rangers are in such a tailspin that the sky is literally falling on this team. And it's hard to put a finger on one player to blame. But there are a few. One of them is Mika Zibanejad, who has a full no movement clause, and he could block a trade to any of the 31 other teams.
Which he will absolutely be doing.
Why would he want to leave New York? Of course. Chris Kreider is not caring right now. His heart's not in it. Jacob Trouba didn't want to leave necessarily, but he's gone. He's an Anaheim Duck now.
I just want to say, though, that Ducks defense, that pairing between Gudas and Trouba.
I don't want to play against that.
Protect your neck.
Your goaltender's not gonna have a problem when they're on the ice. That's for sure. But boy, oh boy, and I can't even really say anything good about the Islanders. They did win back-to-back games this weekend for the second time all season. Nick's face is like, oh, wow, that's impressive. I couldn't believe they actually did that. And then they lost last night to the Kings. They played a great game, though. See, it was easy to watch them lose that game because it was 2-1 the whole time. They got an empty netter with a few seconds left. Great game. And that's what they needed. So They're kind of rolling a little bit. They still don't have 2/3 of their top line, but the Rangers suck, and there are issues, and they just paid Shesterkin all this money. Yes! I love when he loses. I love it when he loses. I hate when people say he's the best goalie in the league. I hate it! We talked off air about how many goalies are better than him right now. And all 3 goalies that are on our favorite teams are better than him right now. Gustafson's better than him. Vasilevsky's better than him. Certainly Sorokin's better than him. Playing 11, 12, and 7 team, and his goals against average is under 3, and his save percentage is almost .920. That's a great goalie, okay? There's 3 goalies that we represent are fabulous, elite, top of their game, prime goaltenders. Shesterkin looks like Swiss cheese. They have no confidence. Oh, that was great. What a comeback.
Can I hop in for an honorable mention?
Go
Good.
ahead.
My honorable mention, good. The points leader in the NHL right now. Your Minnesota Wild. My Minnesota.
Yeah, that's
Our Minnesota Wild. Points leader.
yeah, that's pretty unbelievable.
42 points in 28 games.
That's incredible. The
Correct.
Islanders have 29 points in 30 games.
Kirill is having an MVP season. The
Yes.
dude, he has like 40 points already.
That team is going
It's
to be
insane.
a big problem.
The only thing that scares me is they cannot beat the Kings, they cannot beat the Jets, and they cannot beat the Stars no matter what. They
And
beat.
you're going to have to go through all of them.
They pound every other team except those 3.
You're going to have to beat them. Hey, it's still early in the season. There's plenty of time. They'll figure it out.
7-2-1 in their last 10. They're plus 22 goals, 91-4, 69 goals against.
Doesn't matter who's in goal either.
No, because Flowers having a great year.
He is.
I just wanted to sprinkle that in because I'm never used to seeing Minnesota be this good. We talk about it all the time. They're always middling.
They are a wagon.
They're a wagon.
Marc-Andre Fleury's numbers have been a little bit inflated each of his past 5 seasons. He has his best numbers since 2020, 2021, where he led Vegas. In that shortened season, he had fabulous numbers for them. 910 save percentage, 256 goals against, 5-1-1 record in 7 games. Are you kidding me? We're 30 games in. He's only had to play 7. He'll take that. He could play 3 more years with that. He won't, but he could play 3 more years. If he only plays 20 games a season, this is what he does now. He's playing a backup role to perfection. Just over 400 minutes played, and he has only allowed, 18 goals this season. That's beautiful. Great job. I will always talk about Flower in a good light.
I'm loving it.
I love that guy. All right, the this week is, well, we know they say the happiest place on earth is Disney World. So then there has to be the most unhappy place on earth. And I think that's MetLife Stadium. That would have to be MetLife Stadium. And the reason why is because both teams that play home there, they are atrocious. I don't think there's adjectives that have been created yet to describe how bad these teams are. The Jets are 3-10. They've fired their coach.
And their general manager.
And their general manager. And they still suck. Rodgers has whoever he wants. They still suck. And the Giants are 2-11. Oh, my God. They now don't have quarterback who, guess you guessed it, wasn't the problem. Well, wasn't the only problem. And you thought, wow, this team is playing hard. This team is going to fight for a tie here, force the overtime, block kick. Block kick at the buzzer.
I think the best part of the Giants imploding is the fact that Saquon Barkley is putting together an MVP season in Philly.
And they've won 9 games in a row.
The biggest problem was like, why spend money on Saquon if you're going to have Tommy DeVito starting? Well, you didn't spend the money on Saquon. You still have Tommy DeVito.
And he's not even playing.
He's announced the starter this week. Drew Lock is out with a knee.
Oh, he's out with a knee?
Neck, ankle, something. It's the DeVito show.
Oh, my God. Well, it was the DeVito show, and then he got hurt. It's bad. As bad as it is for the Jets, the Giants are just funny how bad they are.
So
the Jets are arguably worse, though, because they shouldn't be as bad as they are.
So I have a meme that we can post in the video. I'll send it to you to post in the video. And let me find it. I saw it the other day, and I was like, this has to go. Has to go into the playoff, or the pod. It says, have you made the playoffs at least once in the last 14 years?
And it was every team.
On the left side says, of course, that's an insane amount of time. And it is every NFL team, every MLB team, every NBA team, and every NHL team except the Jets. The Jets are the only franchise out of the 4 major North American sports to not make the playoffs one time in 14 years. It's insane.
That is unreal. That is unbelievable.
Hold on.
What are you doing?
I just want to look up how much like things were on this day.
Remember when? Oh my God. Well, in any event, while Anthony does that, it's the because there's something way worse. Okay. In my opinion. And it's interesting that all 3 things I've talked about have to do with rivalries in New York. See, there was a theme to my in no particular order this week. It was the New York rivalries, even though the stupid Giants and stupid Jets play.
That is not a rivalry.
No. And they also play in New Jersey at the worst stadium ever. It looks like a metal bird cage. Are we done?
It does look like a metal bird cage, but they do have absolute banging hot chocolate.
Really?
Oh, MetLife hot chocolate.
If they're good for that, that's great.
Okay, so on December 11th, 2010, the last time the Jets made the playoffs, I'm trying to find a good one to start with. Thousands of people in eastern Russia protest against proposed changes to the country's time zones.
Oh.
In American football, oh my God. Cam Newton won the Heisman.
Aha, yes, it's a long time ago.
For a crowd of 113,411, the largest in ice hockey history, packed Michigan Stadium, the Big House for Michigan and Michigan State. Finland won the 2010 World Floorball Championship.
Oh.
I don't know what that is, but that was all on this date. It's insane. It is absolutely insane of all the stuff. Somali pirates hijacked a Bangladeshi cargo ship off the coast of India.
Wow.
There's a lot, man.
Somalians.
And so much has transpired since then. Just for the 3 of us in our lives. Okay? There's been a lot. Anyway, let's talk about the worst thing. And it's Juan Soto. Do you want to know why it's Juan Soto? It's because he made a decision that has left me aggravated. But at the same time relieved, because I don't need that mess. Miss me with that. Okay, let's talk deets for a minute, okay? So, this contract that Juan Soto just signed with the New York Mets is the biggest contract in sports history, okay? Soto's deal eclipses the $700 million contract that Shohei Ohtani just signed, which he deferred almost all of the money on until 10 years are up. So he's only making $2 million a year to play at the level he's playing. 2 million a year. 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 2 million a Soto's contract is $765 million, most in sports history, and there's no deferred money. So he's going to make $51 million a year.
At least $51 million.
Now the awful thing about it for the Mets, I think, is that he can opt out of the rest of his contract in 2029, after the 2029 season. So that's only 1/3 of the way through the contract.
Now, Chris, what happens if he doesn't opt out?
His contract will then hit the $800 million mark.
If he does not opt out, he gets $56 million a year. He gets a $5 million pay raise if he stays with the New York Mets.
But the Mets also have an opportunity to override the opt-out. It's just mental, okay? The opt-out will fall after the next CBA in Major League Baseball, which means salary caps and stuff might change, but that'll be grandfathered.
Well, will it be grandfathered? Okay, that's my thing. Like, what if MLB's like, you know what? We're done with this hard salary cap. We're getting rid of
Doesn't matter. That's a grandfathered in. So then he's getting $75 million as a signing bonus. Okay. There's tons of incentives. If he wins the MVP, he gets $500,000. And then $1 million per subsequent MVP. And then if he's in the top 3, he still gets money. Full no trade clause. He would need to approve any deal. He gets to wear. This is what bothers me.
Oh, did you even see the other details?
Yes.
Okay.
This is where I start to get bothered. Okay? In the contract. Oh, I hate this. This is so entitled, Anthony. I just want to slap him. He gets to wear number 22. He gets to wear number 22, which was a former Mets number. Brett Beatty, sorry.
He's the third baseman.
Right. And this is my favorite one. One of the reasons why he didn't sign with the Yankees is
Allegedly.
Allegedly, per John Heyman, who is reputable, is partially because the Yankees were not going to gift him a luxury box. But the Mets did. So his family could go to every game in the luxury box. You know who had to pay for their luxury boxes, Nick? Derek Jeter and Aaron Judge. Okay? Okay, Ant? So who is this guy?
There's a worse part of this contract.
ahead,
I don't know
talk
if you've
about
gotten to it yet.
Go ahead.
He also, I don't want to cut you off if you were getting to this.
No, go ahead.
So I love how we're just telling Nicky, like informing Nicky. So another thing that he did is he said he didn't like the way Yankee Stadium security treated his family.
Yes.
Which, from being we were there on opening day. You were there for the World Series.
I was there in the last game of the season.
We were there for the first
And the
and
first
last. Isn't that
game.
crazy? So we've been there a bunch of times. Shout out to Beautiful with 2 L's. You know who you are. You're not listening. You know who you are.
But she knows.
I've never had a problem with Yankee Stadium security. Not a one. Never had an issue with them.
No, listen, Anthony, you know why he wants to play with the Mets, right? Because all of his friends are there.
He wants the habichuela talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the reason why most of the Mets speak Spanish. They're mostly Hispanic, and he more than anything, he wanted that $5 million extra.
Yeah, I mean, but what I was getting to about the security,
Sorry.
I don't know if you saw this. The Mets are also giving him 4 premium seats to every home game. So alongside his booth, his box, he's also getting 4 seats, I'm assuming right behind home plate. I'm assuming it's the first 4 behind home plate, which, gone. Nobody can buy those anymore. Those are Juan Soto's seats for his family or his friends or whoever he deems to come to the game. His family gets a personal security detail to every home and away game. The Mets are paying for Juan Soto's family's security guards.
You're a baseball player, bruh. No offense.
That's you're the
Did Jared Saltalamacchia get security detail?
you're the brother or the cousin or the friend of a baseball player.
He's not even the best one.
No.
No, he's not.
And-
He's
and-
not even the best one on the Yankees.
And we had these conversations. Chris and I had these conversations off camera. I just think that it wasn't. Listen, I don't think it was the $5 million or the one extra year. I don't think it was the security detail. I don't think it was the box. I think it was the fact that Juan Soto was sick of being the bridesmaid and wanted to be
Yes,
the bride.
that's the
There's
reason.
a reason he didn't listen. He didn't stay in Washington because Washington was a dumpster fire at the time. He wouldn't want to stay there, so he left.
And he turned down a big contract then,
At the time.
400-something million.
He goes to San Diego. He is by no means the superstar in San Diego. So what does he do? He wants out. Why would you want out of San Diego? Honestly. Weather's beautiful. You have a great team. You're going to get paid there. He wants out. Why? Because Fernando Tatis was there. They signed Xander Bogaerts. Manny Machado's there. There's 3 other superstars. You're not the best player on the team. The New York Yankees, you are not the best player on the team. You have Aaron Judge, who just beat him out for the MVP. Aaron Judge, back-to-back MVPs. The guy is in his 30s, entering the prime of his career. He's better than Lindor by a lot. He's better than everybody else on that team. That Mets team, got exponentially worse than they were last year. They lost two or three starters.
You want to know who their starters are now?
What's the rotation?
I don't know their whole rotation, but one of them is Clay Holmes.
Yeah. Starter Clay Holmes. The dude couldn't last an inning. Clay Holmes was lights out for one inning. You send him out there for another one, or if he goes over 40 pitches, the guy, he's throwing wiffle balls.
Or 2 pitches sometimes.
Yeah.
He's in this. So
Minaya, gone. Severino, gone. You have, whatever his name is, Senga coming off of 2 injuries. After he started 1 game, 2 injuries. The bullpen's depleted. You lost Pete Alonso. Who do you have? Somebody summed it up on X, formerly known as Twitter. Somebody summed it up perfectly. Juan Soto went from hitting in front of Aaron Judge to hitting in front of who, Chris? Mark Vientos.
Oh.
That man is going to have 500 walks this season.
Oh.
Who beat you in that Mets lineup? Lindor, Soto.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh, dear. Well, Frankie Montas is also a Met, and they're saying he's going to be their starter, too. So, Clay Holmes and Frankie Montas, and then Juan Soto.
Moving the needle, boys.
Bruh, this team, Soto does not make this team that much better at all. They're still not as good as they were last year.
Unless they continue adding, which apparently they want to, but...
And maybe he hits 50 home runs this year. Maybe he's the NL MVP. But the Mets still aren't as good.
It's going to be Alex Rodriguez on the Texas Rangers. It's going to be a very bad... The Mets might finish 3rd in this division. Again, they still have to deal with the Braves.
Remember, they
still
just
have to deal with the Phillies.
And I know Nicky and I sang their praises all playoffs, and they had a great season. They made a great playoff run. But they still got in the playoffs on the last day of the regular season, right? They needed that game to get in. So their regular season was very middling. Despite how good they finished, they started so badly that they only finished, they didn't have 90 wins. And so I think a lot of Mets fans are blinded by that playoff run.
A lot of them, yeah. And it's the thing is,
And the fans are insufferable.
Oh, I'm just taking the amount of screenshots I have on
I don't
my
even
phone is
care.
insane.
I don't even care when a Mets fan has said something about, the Yankees said he's never going to the Mets. You know what? After all this nonsense, after all of the nonsense, I really don't care. I'm genuinely not bothered by it.
Especially now that we've seen the Yankees, something, we talked about this off air. We said something had to click with Hal. Losing that World Series had to be like, what am I doing? Apparently, from what the reports are, that has happened.
Well,
They were willing to give Soto $700 million, 50 something a year. So that 50 is going to be spread across 3 or 4 quality players.
and one of them is Max Fried.
One of them is Max Fried. They're reportedly looking into Bregman. They're reportedly looking into trading for Cody Bellinger and Kyle Tucker.
And I heard today that there's a possibility that Carlos Correa could be a Yankee.
Like, this is the stuff that the Yankees needed to do. And it's like, thank
You take
God.
one player for all that money, or you take 4 or 5 guys for that much money. They were willing to spend that money. They've got that money to spend. Use it.
Exactly. That you could not have put it better.
With that, Anthony has prepared a doozy today.
Yeah, we have a doozy. I'm not going to go through all of these because we're already pretty decent amount of time in, but we're talking about...
Why don't we take 3 from every league?
Yeah. We're taking... we talked about Soto changing. You've seen the title of this. It is, I believe it's Bacon, Egg, and Cheese in a New Job, Please. So we're going to talk about some coaching changes that may or may not happen, and then some possible replacements for said coaches. So we spoke about the Jets. Robert Saleh, we know he's fired. I'll go quick on this one, so this one doesn't really count. There's one guy that fills this void for me. This is a team that needs a culture. They have a lot of talent, but you have the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, is running the show. He's your GM. There's one guy that you need to come in and build a culture, and that is former coach of the Titans, current, I guess he works with Cleveland. He's an associate with Cleveland, a consultant, if you would. Mike Vrabel. Vrabes is the guy for this. If you're the Jets, you need to go get a culture guy. Go get Vrabel. It's going to be a rough couple years, but he is going to build a culture that, look at Tennessee. Tennessee was a game away from the Super Bowl 2 seasons. We'll go with some hot seat guys. That's one that was fired. We'll talk about a hot seat guy. Doug Peterson of the Jaguars. It's pretty much writing on the wall at this time. If you are the owner of the Jaguars, give Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, a blank check. He already talked about what he's looking for. He's looking for an owner that's willing to move things around and go get pieces. He's looking for a quality quarterback. The thing that this guy has done with the Detroit Lions is insane. You have Trevor Lawrence, who is touted as one of the best, if not the best, college prospect quarterback of all time, and he's having a middling season after middling season after middling season. They need a young guy that can do a lot of really good things. You need a coach that's going to be tied to a guy like Trevor Lawrence. I think Ben Johnson's your guy, honestly. Brian Dable. He's on the hot seat. We talked about the Giants being horrible. This is a coach that shouldn't be on the hot seat. It pains me to think of him on the hot seat, but oh well. I think a good replacement here is Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores. What this guy has done with the Vikings, I mean, he has turned, as of when I wrote these notes, which was a couple weeks ago, to be completely honest with you. They turned around. They were 16th in total defense last year. They're top 10 this season. It seems like every game we watch, the Vikings have 1 to 2 takeaways every game. He was a former head coach with the Miami Dolphins. I think you give him his own regime. You let him call the shots with who he wants in at quarterback. Turn that defense around. Defense wins championships. I think Brian Flores is the guy in New York, in East Rutherford. I think he's the guy to right that ship. And then finally, a guy that, how has he not been fired yet? Mike McCarthy of the Cowboys.
And then I heard that they don't necessarily have plans to can him.
I think it's because he's a yes man, and I don't think a lot of NFL coaches are going to deal with that. So my thought, right? He's been linked to the Cowboys before. I've been thinking about this for a while. USC head coach Lincoln Riley. Now, listen to me here. Lincoln Riley coached at Oklahoma, so he's familiar with the area. He's an offensive genius, a la Cliff Kingsbury. He has lost his starting quarterback, his starting wide receiver to the transfer portal this year. USC is not looking like they're so hot right now. He's been rumored to be leaving. I think if you're Jerry Jones, you are an overbearing general manager. You need to go with a college head coach that's going to deal with being pushed around a little bit and can revitalize an offense that is sluggish and overpaid, because let's be real, you can't get rid of Dak, so you might as well find somebody that can make use of him. So those are 3 of the coaching changes that I think are going to happen. I have some other ones, but we don't have time for that. I'm going to pass the mic over to my left here with Mr. Chris Walker. Chris, you are my hockey guy. These were my notes. You didn't really change much, so I feel like I did a really good job on this. So I thank you for that. But Chris, give me some NHL coaching changes.
Well, so Jim Montgomery was on here before we took our break, and then he was correctly, as you mentioned, fired by the Bruins. I want to just say that the problem was not Jim Montgomery. The problem, and this is now multiple moves over the offseason and early season that have cost the team. Linus Ullmark leaves, right? Well, he's gone on the Senators. He's like not even starting for the Senators. It's just insane. I told you he's not that good. What did I say before the season started? I said he's not that good. And Jeremy Swayman signed right before the season started, literally right before opening night. Okay? And then Montgomery gets fired because the team sucks. This is not a Jim Montgomery problem. How about the St. Louis Blues on an absolute heater since Montgomery got rehired by the St. Louis Blues? The coach is not the problem there. I'm happy he got a job. He's a great coach. And he's great with the media. You get a lot of good stuff out of him. On the red, scorching, fiery hot seat is Mike Sullivan of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You want to talk about a team that really sucks? I'm not even talking about the Rangers, not even talking about the Islanders. There's teams that suck even more. I think a lot of the NHL sucks this year. You wouldn't know about that. You're going a little bit.
I'm following Utah. No cap.
Well, then they're in the middling, the mushy middle, as Barry Trotz calls it. We live in the mushy middle. You guys are on a different universe right now, okay? But Mike Sullivan of the Penguins, man, I don't know why he has a job. It's kind of like Mike McCarthy. Mike Sullivan is not a bad coach, but he doesn't have that locker room right now. You could tell he doesn't have that locker room. They have the second worst goals against average in the NHL, which is not a coach's fault. That's the goalie's fault, okay? If you're giving up almost 4 goals a game, shame on you and your terrible goaltending. They also score south of 2.75 goals a game. So what happens is that starts to fall on the coach. And that's what's going to happen to Sullivan. I don't think he makes it. Wow. He might make it to Christmas. I don't think he makes it to the trade deadline. Because the Penguins have steadily dropped from their Stanley Cup championships they won in the middle 2010s. They have really had a drop-off, now missing the playoffs 2 years in a row, which is unheard of for that team in the Sidney Crosby era. Mike Sullivan is number 1. Derek Lalonde on the Red Wings. This is an interesting one because Lalonde has not had success coaching anywhere. And I think there might be a coaching change coming. This team, if you recall, last season was on the precipice of the playoffs and were kind of expected to make the playoffs last year. And it kind of surprised everybody when they didn't. They went and they got Patrick Kane, who gave them a real spark, but they could not piece together wins last season, and other teams like the Capitals and the Islanders did at the right time. And so I think Lalonde is definitely on the hot seat. This team does not have a good penalty kill. I'm not one to talk. The Islanders have the worst power play and the worst penalty kill. The Red Wings is third worst. What did I just do? Did I just kill my laptop? Anyway, I know the last one anyway. Arguably the worst team in the NHL this season, solely based on the fact that they were supposed to be a legitimate Stanley Cup contender this year.
I think I had them as my Western Conference team.
With all the acquisitions they made, most notably, former Tampa Bay Lightning captain Steven Stamkos is the Nashville Predators, who have 7 wins in nearly 30 games. 7 wins.
It's insane. They're 7, 16, and 6.
29 games, 7 wins. I mean, that is a league worst, obviously. The Sharks are better. The Ducks are better. The Penguins are better. The Blackhawks are better.
They're on an 8-game losing streak.
And this is a team with talent. Great goaltending. Great talent. And none of it's working. And when that's the case, bye-bye. Your coach got to go. They can't take much more of this, or they're not going to be able to make any kind of playoff run. It's going to be over. It's almost midway through the season. We're are 30 games through for some teams. Other teams are at 27, 28 games. This is, like, it's getting scary. It's almost Christmas. 7 wins. And when you see the roster, it's mind-blowing. Andrew Burnett is definitely not going to make it through the season, in my opinion. And that's your hockey.
Now let's swing it to my right here. Nicky, getting his own segment, did the work.
Yes,
Let's
I
see
did.
what you got here,
All
brother.
by myself did this work.
It's the NBA season, so Nicky's our NBA.
For you, Nick.
NBA liaison here. Nicky,
Yes.
take us away.
The first person we have to talk about is JJ Redick on the Lakers. Everyone thought this team needed a new coach. A new coach would elevate this team. Nothing's changed. Redick's been coaching well, but the team plays with no heart, lackadaisical defense, and I think it's time to ask the question, is LeBron the problem? Because it's not Redick. Redick is the one coach that has done something nobody else has done, and that's hold LeBron accountable. But he still continues to walk back on defense, not even come back on defense sometimes, and just wait for a stop and hope he can get a cherry pick on the other end. And yeah, that is JJ Redick.
Well, as of 3 hours ago, LeBron is away from the team for, quote, personal reasons. Status for matchup versus Timberwolves is uncertain. He was quoted saying, quote, no party like a Diddy party. So maybe why he has stepped away from the team. He is averaging 23, 8, and 9 for the season, so almost a triple-double in his age, 39 season?
40. It is ridiculous how good he is. But he is not helping on defense. And he doesn't have the heart anymore or the leadership. You know, he really just goes out there and does his thing.
He's just scoring his 20, 25, and then taking
20, 10, and 10, and that's it.
Taking off.
So there's another team on the list here, and you said that LeBron could be the problem. As of right now, we'll jump around on the list a little bit, but they're saying that there's a real chance LeBron could be traded to Golden State.
I don't see it happening. Speaking of Golden State, though, let's talk about Steve Kerr, because this team also started off really good and now is doing terrible. I don't understand Steve Kerr. I'm a fan of Golden State, if the listeners didn't know. He changes the lineup throughout the year, even though we're winning or even though we're losing. He subs players out when they're doing good. I don't understand what he's doing. He's been starting Buddy Hield as the 6th man, and then recently he started playing him with Curry when we started winning again, and then he stopped again. And I think he's you guys can add to this, but I can't figure out if he's just too loyal to the veterans on the team, and because I think Draymond needs to be coming off the bench as the 6th man, but I don't think he can ever do that.
Listen, if you're Steve Kerr and you've seen what Draymond and what Steph did for your career and what they did for your resume, you almost have to be loyal. Like, it's very similar. It's very similar to the Mike Sullivan situation.
Yes. It's very similar. It's gone a little bit stale, right? It's all just a little bit stale and sour.
But Steph's still playing at an elite level.
Well, you think, like Ant said, you compare it to Pittsburgh. They've got Crosby, Letang, and Malkin, who are still elite, top of their game players, even as they get older. But it doesn't really matter because the formula is the same, and other teams are getting better, and they're getting more talented, and it's just stale. Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. We've seen it 100 times. We say it with Mike Tomlin, but they're winning. But you see it throughout all these sports where coaches they're loyal to a fault to some of these guys because they owe their careers to them. And then finally, Nick,
They do.
yeah, finally, your last.
Finally, I'm gonna go with Quinn Snyder, the Hawks coach. It's only his second season as coach. He took over halfway through last season, so this is really his first full season as coach. And he wants to play through Trey, and it's been going well this season, and I think there's a lot of hope for them. They're in 7th place right now, and he's a well-known guy. He is known for his defensive schemes, and this is something the team lacks. They would just be a scoring team. Trey Young go get 40, 50, and hopefully that'll be enough. But now this team's kind of putting it together, and I think they can make a playoff spot.
So now they're saying right now there's some players that might be moved. Clint Capella is one of the names. If you have gone through struggle, right, they're sitting at 14-12, so right around middling.
Mm-hmm.
A coach is finally getting a shot. Do you mix it up? Do you commit to the tank? Do you say to your general manager, "Hey man, this is what I've been doing. Let me cook."
You tell him you're letting him cook. Letting you cook. Yeah. Because this team has the talent. He has the coaching mindset. And I think they did need a new coach. So let him have a full season and see what he can make happen.
Yeah. I was really happy that I didn't see Patrick Waugh's name on there because, again, it's another guy in his first full season. It's tough when you're trying to fix a team to look at only half a season because it wasn't your team to start with.
Yeah.
Let's see how you do one full season, then the next season we'll address.
Well, it's another thing too, and I think this is pretty universal throughout all three sports we talked about today. But
not soccer, I might say.
I've seen reports, right, that people are saying Raiders need to fire Antonio Pierce. That is the worst move they can do. That is the worst thing they can do. If the Lions fired Dan Campbell after his first season with the team, they would be nowhere near where they are now.
Right.
Dan Campbell, I think they won 3 games in his first season, but he's like, we're building something. Just let Antonio Pierce build. He's had 3 or 4 different quarterbacks this year. I think a lot of patience needs to be seen, and that's really something we haven't seen through a lot of sports recently. Now, the reason I get to this is not on the list because it happened today. We'll talk about it quick, and then we'll get to the grinders. But Bill Belichick, back to coaching. He's the head coach of North Carolina football. I think that is the best move for UNC and for Bill. I think his strategy and his coaching philosophy is in the NFL, it's kind of cooked to the no fun stuff. Yeah. But, you're dealing with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They need no fun.
Yeah.
You need a strict be at the meeting at this time or you're not going to play. Do this right or you're not going to play. If you want to be great and you want to go to the league, come here.
And I'll tell you what, Anthony.
They're going to be good.
They're going to be good, and there are going to be players all over the country that want to play for UNC because they want to play for Bill Belichick.
Yeah. It's Deion Sanders with results.
With already proven coaching results.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it with your quarterback won you championships, my people. That is not. No,
he's going to turn this into a professional program. And you're going to mark my words right now. You're going to see players, you're going to see quarterbacks pumping out of North Carolina because he's going to teach them a pro-style system. You're going to see within the next 2 years, I can see UNC having the defense we talk about like the 2001 Hurricanes, where it's just superstar after superstar after, because this guy is a defensive guy. He's still, you saw it in the NFL. His play calling was still great. They won 5 games, but he was still great on defense. So I think he is the perfect fit for a college football team because I'm looking at it from my perspective. At 18, did I want to go and have fun and goof around? Yes, but if I wanted to be the best I could be, I want to play for a guy for Bill, where I'm held accountable, where I'm told what to do because I need structure.
Yeah.
And these kids need structure.
I think you put it perfectly.
I think it's perfect.
That's a good point, Anthony. All right. Let's move along to Grammy's Grinders of the Week. And on our first show back, how about we have Anthony go first? And then Nicky, I'll round it out.
All right, so on our first show back, my Grammy's Grinder is 5'11", 215 pounds from Rio Linda, California. I don't know how they're going to say it.
That means pretty river.
Running back from Arizona State, Cam Scadaboo. This guy, if you watch the Arizona State playoff game against Iowa State, they stomped these boys. This is a team that has earned a bye week. We'll talk about the college football playoffs probably next week, but this is a team that earned a bye week because they were projected to be the worst team in the Big 12. They went out and won the Big 12. So, and it was on the shoulders of this guy. I mean, if you watch him run, it is contact balance. He's bouncing off people, throwing people. This season, he finished the year with 263 carries, 1,568 rushing yards, 19 rushing touchdowns, and you add on 37 receptions for 506 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. That is huge. He was, I think, a 3-star coming out of California, but he's a smaller guy. He's a white running back. It's just this guy is breaking everybody's expectations. He's ran himself into hearing his name get called on draft day, probably on the second day. And then one thing I do want to say, and no, being a broadcaster, I do not want to say this, but it has to be pointed out. In 4 years of starting, he was a starting running back for 4 years, not a single fumble. Not a one fumble in a lot of carries. I mean, upwards of 500 carries, 600 carries, not one fumble. So, Cam Scadaboo, you are my Grammys Grinder of the Week.
All right, Nick.
My Grammys grinder is a guy that is a true grinder, very grindy, and has been passed around the league from the Jets to the Panthers to the 49ers and now the Vikings. Sammy Darnold has been having an amazing season. His QB rating this season is 108.1. His best in the last 6 years was 92 with the Carolina Panthers. Anthony, I don't know if you remember those days. They were probably dark.
Every day is dark.
Yeah, okay. 3,300 yards this season, more passing yards than Lamar Jackson, less interceptions than Josh Allen, and more rushing yards than Patrick Mahomes. What a season.
It's been great.
And yeah.
That's awesome.
Sammy Darnold. Grammys
Good
grinder.
team, too. My Grammys Grinder of the Week is a veteran in the NHL who just happened to play against the Islanders, which brought up my wanting to use him as my grinder. He's in his 19th season in the NHL. He's the captain of the Los Angeles Kings. And he's on a 4-game point streak, but so what? I mean, this guy's put up points his whole life. He's got 32 points on the season in his 19th season already in only 29 games. 8 goals, 24 assists. It's Anze Kopitar. But his work goes beyond the goals. He's a grinder because his career face-off percentage is 53%. That is extraordinary for a career. To go anywhere above 50, even 50.5 is a successful career, face-off wise. This guy's 53+% face-off man in his career. And he proved again why he is my grinder last night, because the Islanders had 3 power plays on the first face-off, which is the all-important face-off on a power play. You win the face-off, you get set up. Every penalty kill the Kings went on last night, Kopitar took the face-off and won every single face-off to start the penalty kill. And the Islanders had no answer. And so that is why Anze Kopitar is my Grammys Grinder of the Week. We're back.
He was also the first Slovene to play in the NHL.
I didn't know that.
He also looks just like BJ Novak or Ryan from The Office.
He does.
Strikingly like BJ Novak.
Yes. Yes, he does, doesn't he? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He looks a little bit more caveman.
Yes.
Anyway, well, thank you for sticking with us on Sports and Spaghetti. Please follow us and do all the things and subscribe on YouTube.
Bye. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next video.
We're back with that. Also, follow us on Instagram at Sports and Spaghetti Pod and on TikTok, Sports and Spag Pod. It's been nice to be back. Anthony, Nick, take us away.
It was a great time. I'm so glad to be back. I wouldn't mind driving in the rain for 45 minutes for anything else but this.
As long as it's not snow.
Nicky is to my right. Chris is to my left. It's bacon, egg, and cheese time.
It's good.
It was very good. I'm Ant. Those are bacon, egg, and cheeses. As always, hug your loved ones. Make a bacon, egg, and cheese and put hot sauce on it. And as always, stay full.